What's going on, my fellow degenerates? Passion here once again with another video with some Overwatch 2 gameplay. And today, we have a massive announcement from the Overwatch team that I know I'm a little bit late on. By the time you see this, it's probably going to be rolled out today. But I'm recording this the night before. I wanted to get home after work and do my take on it, but then, you know, I got home, my friends wanted to play some games, plus I got tired, so whatever, we're covering it now. So I'm sure you probably already heard by now, but if you haven't, Overwatch is back. So basically what has been happening, I want to give a little bit of a preface to like the lead up of this, right? So it all happened like I want to say a few days ago, right? Like over the weekend. All of a sudden, all of the Overwatch social accounts got rid of basically all their old posts, archived them from literally the entire history of the accounts, wiped all their old posts, and changed their icon to be that of a picture of Tracer, but it was Tracer from Overwatch 1. It was the Overwatch 1 version of Tracer, and even the Instagram bio they changed said, "What year is it?" So and then they started just posting these random memes that were just like using screenshots from the game, but of models of the Overwatch heroes using their models from Overwatch 1, right? And people were so confused. They're like, well, some people thought they might have even have been hacked by some like 6v6 purist or whatever who was like, you know, like just making a meme of it. But nope, this was a coordinated thing from Blizzard. So they posted these, like, you know, Overwatch 1 memes, and people were kind of speculating on what was going to happen. And it kind of all came to a head with this video that they posted, I believe, on Instagram, where it was a bunch of Overwatch cosplayers dressed up in the original Overwatch 1 skins, default skins, doing a mannequin challenge, which obviously was like really popular back in 2014 when Overwatch was announced, because people noticed that this year, this November, marks the 10-year anniversary of when Overwatch was first announced at BlizzCon 2014. So people thought, oh, well, it's the big anniversary of Overwatch getting announced, maybe they're going to do something special with it. And in the Instagram video of the cosplayers doing the mannequin challenge, it linked to a YouTube live premiere that was set to premiere on November 11th. And it had no details on it. It was just a picture of that same Overwatch 1 picture of Tracer. It just says, trailer premieres November 11th. And people were like, what? Like, people were like, what the hell does this mean? So people were speculating. There were some speculations, and some of them did turn out to be correct, as we're going to get into. So obviously, I sat down, watched the trailer live, and basically to celebrate that this is the 10th anniversary of the announcement of Overwatch, which, if you guys remember, when they announced Overwatch, it was Blizzard's first IP in like 15 years. Or something along those lines, you know what I mean? So, like, it was a big deal. So to celebrate the fact that it's the 10th anniversary of the official Overwatch 1 first unveiling at BlizzCon 2014, we now have Overwatch Classic. So Overwatch Classic is going to be a 3-week limited time game mode within Overwatch 2's arcade that aims to take us back to the original version 1.0 of Overwatch that launched in May 2016, in all of its like broken, busted glory. So There's a trailer. I might play the trailer at the end of this video, but I wanted to go over the blog post that was posted today on the official Overwatch news page. So let's get into that. It says, 8 years ago, Blizzard released a completely new gaming world called Overwatch. Connected by a theme for fighting for the future, millions of you jumped in to experience new heroes like a time-jumping adventurer, an esports champion turned mech pilot, and a genetically modified gorilla from the moon. Together, we all fought across fantastic battlegrounds from all corners of the future Earth, including Temple of Anubis, Hanamura, King's Row, and Dorado. Now, you'll be able to relive the nostalgia in a series of new limited-time events in Overwatch 2, where you can experience the original heroes, abilities, and maps in the classic 66 team-based action you remember. Get ready to answer the call for Overwatch Classic. Each Overwatch Classic event will feature heroes and balance from popular moments in the game's history, ranging from the fast-paced and frantic gameplay of the 2017 Moth meta to the triple tank, triple support style of GOATs. In the first Overwatch Classic event, we're taking it all the way back to the original 1.0 release from May 2016, which includes many abilities that haven't been seen for years, and all the chaotic gameplay from that era. So I want to interject here just to mention that, and this is something I've seen a lot of people having to reiterate because people are confused, this is not the 6v6 tests. I want to make that very clear. This is not the 6v6 tests that are coming in Season 14. I do believe that this is, in a sense, a bit of a stress test, at least on the engine side of things, to see if the engine can actually handle 6v6 and how well it does. But in terms of this being a test to see if 6v6 works in today's Overwatch, this is not that. This is essentially just them going back to the original 1.0 Overwatch and reliving that nostalgia. It's going to be a separate game mode off in the arcade. It's not going to interfere with your 5v5 quick play. It's not going to interfere with your competitive. It is just a fun side mode they're trying out to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of Overwatch being announced. So, getting back to the blog post. Patch 1.0 first introduced us to the first 21 heroes and 12 maps across 4 different game modes. Many of the heroes had high risk but high reward gameplay. You'll also be able to flex with 1, 2, or even 6 tanks to form your frontline defense, plant multiple turrets on the payload, and constantly boop or hook your opponents into the Ilios well. Expect heroes like Widowmaker to be a constant threat, or be careful as you try and peek around corners, as Hanzo's scatter arrow can strike you before you can see it. Junkrat and D.Va mains will need to watch out as their own weaponry can harm them. I don't know if you guys, any Overwatch 1 players out there remember when D.Va's self-destruct, you had to hide from it, because it would kill you too. And you'll be extra pressured to attack or defend objectives, as Symmetra's teleporter will be able to transport players from their spawn directly back into the action. Finally, watch out for Mercy to swoop in after you make that stunning quintuple elimination, as her Resurrect ultimate will instantly revive all of her fallen allies at once. Yes, Huge Res is back, ladies and gentlemen. Huge Res is back. My favorite era of Mercy. Holy shit. Explore the original abilities. So they actually go into a bit of detail in the blog post about specifically like each individual ability and what it does. And keep in mind, like, with this classic Overwatch Classic mode, it's at least in this first iteration of the event, because they do say later on in the post that they may go back to this again in the future. They may make this a yearly thing. We don't know. But at least in this current version of the Overwatch Classic, it is just going to be the original 21 hero roster. So that means any hero released after the original launch of Overwatch. That includes Ana, that includes Orisa, that includes Doom, that includes Sombra. Like, literally all of these past heroes not going to be playable in this mode. It is just the original 21 heroes from the first Overwatch. in this game mode. As a matter of fact, I'll even mention this in here, but not only is it going to be the original 21 heroes, it's also going to be just their default skins from Overwatch 1 you'll be able to equip. Part of me is a little bit bummed about that, but you know, for nostalgia reasons, it's fine. So, explore the original abilities. We're grouping heroes in their 4 original classes, but you are not required to play attackers when on attack or defenders when defending. I love how they had to point that out, because I remember back in the day when they were grouped into attack and defense heroes, you'd get people bitching at you that you're playing an attack hero on defense or a defense hero on attack, and it made absolutely no difference whatsoever, so I don't know why people bitched about it. But the naming kind of led players to assume that was the only way you could do that, and if you didn't do it that way, you were throwing. So I'm glad they clarified that here. Pick the heroes that work best for you. Also, in the first few days, Overwatch Classic will play with no hero limits, as the original release did not enforce hero limits. So you can have up to 6 of the same hero for any meme comp you want. We're not talking about roles. We're not talking about role queue. Hero limits. As in, you want to have 6 Torbs, you want to have 6 Winstons, you want to have 6 Divas. Go for it. That was Overwatch 1 back in 2016, ladies and gentlemen. No role queue, no hero limits. It was madness. There's a famous clip, I think back from the beta, of a team kind of just standing around on Volskaya Industries, looking like they're on defense and they're looking confused, and they go, oh, where's the enemy team? And then all of a sudden you just see 6 Winstons just fly over the top of the choke point on Volskaya, and it's classic. So yeah, that's what we can look forward to. After that, we will enable single hero limits for the remainder of this first Overwatch Classic event. So yeah, it's just going to be no hero limits for the first week. After that, for the following 2 weeks, there will be a 1 hero limit. So we'll they can kind of see and gauge which of the versions the community likes better for this event. In general, each hero will be able to power up their ultimate ability a lot faster than in Overwatch 2, as general ultimate charge cost was much lower back then. Also, any heroes that can be interrupted out of their ultimate can have a portion of their ultimate charge salvaged depending on when the interruption occurred. Health pools, damage outputs, and projectile sizes are also reverted to before the Overwatch 2 Season 9 update. So I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty of each ability here, but I will read the developer comments as to all these different heroes and how they're different from Overwatch 2, in case you are a new player who never got to experience these heroes in Overwatch 1. So, Cassidy. What's different? Cassidy truly brings Wild West action in Overwatch Classic. His damage output will be more increased than what you may be used to in Overwatch 2, with damage from fanning the hammer dealing 70 damage per projectile. Cassidy's flashbang is restored to its original form, where heroes caught in its blast will be immobilized for a few seconds, leaving them vulnerable to attack. Finally, Deadeye has more versatility, as Cassidy can cancel from firing and save up a half of his ultimate charge. Then we have Genji. What's different? Genji's Dragon Blade won't be able to be ignored so easily, as he can attack for up to 8 seconds. Genji is also more mobile, as double jump will reset as you wall climb. Pharah. What's different? Pharah's original kit allows her more opportunities to stay in the air longer and can have more potential to boop opponents from ledges using her concussive blast. She also deals more damage with higher splash explosion damage from the rockets in her rocket launcher. Reaper. What's different? Aside from the broader damage changes in Overwatch 2, Reaper's passive, the Reapening, will return to its original form, where soul orbs will be dropped from defeated enemies that Reaper can pick up to gain 50 HP. Also, plan how to use your Wraith form, as it cannot be cancelled early. Soldier 76. What's different? Soldier 76 has had mostly tuning changes I can read throughout Overwatch's history. His heavy pulse rifle deals less damage at 17 damage per projectile, but the rifle has no recoil and will instead have increased speed the longer you hold it. Tracer. What's different? Tracer's time-traveling playstyle has been relatively unchanged throughout Overwatch's history, with tuning changes to her pulse pistols and pulse bomb being the biggest adjustments. Expect the pulse bomb to deal incredibly high damage that can finish off most heroes. Bastion. What's different? Bastion's original kit is much different than what you play with today. Bastion is a tricky hero that can keep chokeholds nearly unpassable with stage and sentry form, firing a volley of machine gun fire, though he cannot move and has a limited amount of ammo while in sentry form. This makes his biggest weakness, getting attacked from behind, easy to exploit if the opponent can flank around him. Don't forget to use the self-repair to heal Bastion when you're not dealing damage. Also, watch out for Configuration Tank, as Configuration Tank will deal massive bursts of damage as he can freely roam around the battlefield in tank form. Hanzo. What's different? Hanzo's most notable change was swapping his original specialty arrow, the Scatter Arrow. This is a powerful chokebuster attack which will launch a volley of projectiles reflecting on the walls, which combined with the Sonic Arrow is a great way to stop a flanking target that may be hiding around the corner. Hanzo won't have his lunge jump passive either, so mobility is more limited. Junkrat. What's different? Junkrat has a lot more risk to his own health, as damage from his frag launcher will be dealt on him as well. Concussion Mine only has one change, which will limit how Junkrat, one charge, which will limit how Junkrat can use the ability to jump into action or deal damage to opponents. Mei. What's different? Many of you will find Mei's original kit to be much cooler, literally. The primary fire from Endothermic Blaster will quickly freeze individual enemies, allowing Mei to deal an icy cold elimination with the alternate fire. Also, the Ice Wall will be a more formidable obstacle to take down, with each pillar having 500 health. Torbjorn. What's different? Torbjorn's original kit is about building his tools and resources out of the scraps fallen from both allies and opponents. Collect scrap to deploy armor packs that you or your allies can pick up for an additional armor HP. When you use Deploy Turret, a small, low-damage level 1 turret will be placed, but you can use your Forge Hammer to upgrade it to level 2, which is the same turret that now deploys automatically in the live game. With the original Molten Core ultimate, power up Torbjorn with additional armor and faster movement, and instantly upgrade a level 2 turret to the missile-launching rapid-fire level 3 turret to secure any battlegrounds. Widowmaker. What's different? Widowmaker is far more lethal with faster charge shots and more damage dealt at long range. However, Widowmaker will be more vulnerable each time she uses Grappling Hook, as it has a longer cooldown. D.Va. What's different? D.Va's original kit is more static, and lacks the Micro Missiles ability that would be added later in Overwatch. Notably, her defense matrix continuously channels the field for several seconds between a 10-second cooldown. And Pilot D.Va can be damaged from the blast of her own self-destruct ability, which takes 4 seconds to explode, making it a challenge for Pilot D.Va to stay out of the blast radius of the devastating ability.
This ends now.
Reinhardt. What's different? While Reinhardt won't have the advantage of 2 charges to his Fire Strike and a smaller HP pool, the Earth Shatter will have more horizontal and vertical range to catch enemies off guard. Also, he will be able to mitigate incoming damage as his barrier health is much higher than in the live game. Roadhog. What's different? Roadhog's kit has often received tuning adjustments based around his ability to hook and catch opponents. Carefully avoid the hook, as it will catch anything and everything around him, and can deal a lethal 1-2 combo between his scrap gun and melee for an easy finishing blow to most low HP heroes. Winston. What's different? Winston's kit will be missing the long-range attack from his Tesla cannon that was introduced in Overwatch 2. Also, carefully time replacements of Barrier Projector, as cooldown starts only after the shield expires instead of when it's deployed. Zarya. What's different? Originally, Zarya had separate cooldowns for Particle Barrier and Projected Barrier, so be careful of when you use either to protect yourself or your teammates. However, Zarya's ability to gain energy from those abilities is much higher than in the current live game. Lucio. What's different? While the identity of Lucio's kit has remained the same, his crossfade will feel the most different, as it provides a radius of 30 meters versus the 10 meter range in his current kit, but with less healing to his allies. However, this enables him to be a great character to help rush his team to the next team fight with ease. Mercy. What's different? Mercy's Resurrect as an ultimate works as a great teamfight counterplay, allowing her to target up to 5 allies in range to be resurrected immediately. Watch out if there are multiple Mercy players on your team, as the benefit from her damage boost can be multiplied. And Symmetra. Yes, that's right. Symmetra as a support, in case you youngins didn't know about that. What's different? Originally categorized as a support hero, Symmetra's kit was more geared to providing utility to her allies than dealing damage directly. Her Photon Shield ability grants your allies with additional shield health, which can regenerate as long as they are not eliminated. With Teleporter as her ultimate, you can place the exit teleporter anywhere on the map and be linked directly to the active spawn room. Consider playing more than one Symmetra to create complex sensory turret fortifications to wash clean any chokeholds from your opponents. And finally, Zenyatta. What's different, Zenyatta's kit remains relatively unchanged, short of not having his Snap Kick passive that was added later. However, watch out for his Orb of Discord, as damage amplification increases 50% of the damage received on its target. So, if you did not hear me mention a hero that you were hoping for, it was not in the original Overwatch. Again, there were 21 heroes in the original Overwatch. Any hero that you maybe didn't hear me mention is not going to be in this mode. So yeah, I know a lot of people were like excited for DPS Doomfist to come back, but sorry, it's just going to be the original 21 heroes. So thank the Lord, DPS Doomfist was so goddamn annoying. I might have to make a whole fucking video ranting about DPS Doomfist. I don't want to take up as much of this video as I already am to fucking rant about my issues with DPS Doomfist. But anyway. Map selection. You'll play on the original 12 launch maps that appeared in Overwatch Patch 1.0 across the 4 original game modes: Assault, Escort, Hybrid, and Control. Assault, or as we now like to call them, 2CP. Assault maps are challenging maps where a team must try to capture 2 objective points that are defended by the opposing team within the time limit. So there's Hanamura, Temple of Anubis, Volskaya and Volskaya Industries. And Control maps are an all-out brawl, as both teams work to capture an objective point and hold it long enough to score without letting the other team do the same. Best 2 out of 3 wins. So, same as we have today in Overwatch 2, but there was actually only 3 Control maps at launch of Overwatch. That was Ilios, Lijiang Tower, and Nepal. So these are the only maps that are going to appear for Control in this game mode. Escort maps will have a team help escort a payload throughout a map. Reach checkpoints to extend your time and complete the map to win. Opponents work to stop the payload from completing the route. Dorado, Route 66, and Watchpoint Gibraltar are going to be your 3 escort maps. And they do mention this here, but I also want to reiterate, due to technical limitations, the version, even though we're only getting these original maps from the original Overwatch, it's not going to be the old versions of these maps. It's still going to be the modern Overwatch 2 versions. So, like the recent reworks to Dorado, I know that we're going to get into Hybrid here, and Nubani is one of the maps. So these recent reworks that we've had in Overwatch 2 for these maps, those are the versions we're going to be playing. Well, it may still be the old original cast with their original abilities and everything, 6v6, but it is going to be those new Overwatch 2 versions of the maps, which, to be honest, is fine, because like a lot of this was changed for, sake of quality of life, and not it's just better to play on. It's just better to play on these days. So, and finally, obviously, we have Hybrid. Hybrid maps combine assault and escort modes to create a challenging course where the attacking team must capture an objective, then escort a payload throughout the rest of the map. Opponents need to stop the payload from reaching the end. So the original maps we had in Overwatch 1, version 1.0, was Hollywood, Kings Row, and Numbani. So that's it. Those are the only maps we're going to have for this game mode, which, again, takes us back to that original Overwatch 1 launch. So we're going to get into a quick FAQ before I give my final thoughts on this. FAQ, when can I play Overwatch Classic? Overwatch Classic is a limited time event from November 12th to December 2nd. Question, is Overwatch Classic the team's answer to bringing back 6v6? Overwatch Classic is separate from our broader 6v6 plans. Overwatch Classic is meant to be a nostalgic experience, taking heroes, players, and the game back to moments in the game's history for a limited time event. Is it a way to test bringing back 6v6 permanently into Overwatch 2? Nope. We are running separate 6v6 test modes in future seasons to gather feedback and gauge players' interest on that format. See our recent director's take for more information on those tests. Question, is this a separate game from Overwatch 2 that I have to install? This is not a separate game. This is a mode that will be playable in Overwatch 2, which you'll find in the Events Hub and in the arcade in the main menu. What is the game mode for the Classic patch 1.0? You'll play the quick play rule set using the original 21 heroes and the 12 original launch maps. In spirit of the patch 1.0 balance, there will be no hero limits and no role limits as you play for the first few days of the event. After that, we will enable the single hero limit, a rule for the remainder of the event. Heroes will be categorized into their 4 original classes: offense, defense, tanks, and supports. Will maps be restored to their original design when Overwatch Patch 1.0 is released? Overwatch Classic will use the 12 original maps that first launched. However, maps will appear the same as they do in other Overwatch 2 game modes. This includes major reworks for Dorado, Numbani, Route 66, and Watchpoint Gibraltar. Things like match timing and how elevator platforms work will still be the same as they appear in Overwatch 2 game modes. Can I equip my favorite skins, including Overwatch 2 skins, when playing? As part of the nostalgia of playing Overwatch Classic, players will only be using the original Overwatch default skins for this event. While weren't legacy features like loot boxes, the original UI, or competitive mode included in Overwatch Classic. We focused on our heroes, maps, and overall gameplay with Overwatch Classic, and the scope allows us the flexibility to balance these events with other new exciting gameplay. And finally, will Overwatch Classic ever return, or is this just a one-time thing? While we're not planning for this to be a single event, we will be measuring player response to inform our future plans. So kind of, if this goes well, if people really like it, then we might actually make this a yearly thing. We might basically go back to previous iterations of Overwatch that people liked, previous metas, previous balance patches and stuff, just for our sake of nostalgia and to celebrate stuff with Overwatch. So that is the blog post for Overwatch Classic. Like I say, by the time you're seeing this, the Overwatch Classic patch, which obviously is going to be mid-season, will probably be out. I hope to see you guys in the Overwatch Classic mode. Let me know what you guys think about it down below. Were you original Overwatch 1 player that is like me, who is super nostalgic for this to come back and is gonna have a lot of reliving a lot of those great memories on these older maps with these original heroes the way they were. Or are you an Overwatch 2 player who kind of doesn't know what all the freaking hype is about and wants to see why all these old Overwatch 1 players are like, bring back 6v6, because you'll get to see why. You'll get to see why we love the original Overwatch.
The payload moves. Armor up. No running. Exquisite. Onward and upward.
Someone called the ambulance. Heroes never die. Back to the past.
But yeah, let me know what you guys think below. Remember, guys, if you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, I'm Passion, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Turn me on and pop up on the screen. What you know about it? Get up and say hello to me. You won't live without it. Empty fresh, it tastes like this.